Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. This is a mess. This is a mess. I've been taking notes all day. Woke up early to watch this mess. This is horrible, terrible, crazy. I don't know where this show's gonna go. I've got a ton of notes. This is the craziest thing. This is... Hello, everybody. Do me a favor, make sure you check in. Hey, Don, I got that picture you just sent me. Thank you very much, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. That is some perspective that I needed. Hello, Mark Calcaterra. I am so glad that you are out of jail. Hello, Susie. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Cammie Laverne. That's my sis. I love her. Bruce, good evening from Alaska. I'm glad that you are back. Lots of stories about mooses and things. Hello, Darla Stewart Bennett. Hey, by the way, everybody, Darla Stewart was the first person to buy something from my store. Darla, we got to get together. I owe you some money. I owe you a discount. I owe you, as the first person, I'm going to get that to you for free. Jason, glad to see you can be with us. Yes, it is indeed a sad day for our country. It is horribly sad. So, all right, let's do this. Thanks a lot for checking in, everybody. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. How you doing? My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle. Welcome to the show. It's the quintessential show for Middle Americans. And this is the show that was born out of my frustration with the situation that we have found ourselves in our country. It seems like Middle Americans are always under attack, and it seems like we can't get anything done in the country. It seems like the two political ends of the spectrum can never talk to each other, and the people in the middle are the only sane people that are left. Today, first I was mad. Well, first I was intrigued, and then I watched... Trump speech. So first I watched some of the rally, and then I watched the Trump speech, and then I watched the chaos that ensued after that. I don't watch a lot of TV, so it was really unusual for me. I had to figure out how to quickly change between CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CBS, ABC. Everybody was carrying this, and it was an absolute mess. So my sister asked me, hello, Greg Myers, how you doing? Cammie, are there really any Middle Americans? Yes, I can answer that with certainty. There are Middle Americans, and they are good Middle Americans that just want the peace of mind that we can all get along and that we can build better lives for everyone in the country. This isn't, to me, this isn't really difficult. This isn't that hard. Wake up every morning with optimism and hope, and then go figure out a way to make yourself a living so that you can put a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food in your belly, that you can take care of your children, and you can raise them in an environment where they are free, or as free as they can possibly be, while living inside of a society that genuinely cares about everybody else that's in the society. Right now, it seems like we're coming from two political sides, and that there is no middle. But I tell you right now, there is a huge middle. But they've got us divided. So they have divided our country into so many little segments that if you are not one of those segments, you are totally feeling like you are left out in the cold. And right now, the big divide is the political divide. Was there cheating in an election, or was there not cheating in an election? Was there cheating in an election, or was there not cheating in an election? I'm going to tell you what right now. I don't know whether there was cheating. Sorry about my glasses. I don't know whether there was cheating in an election or not. It sure does seem suspicious. Sure seems suspicious. But last night, they had an election for the senatorial candidates, and I know that I had heard reports that they were going to have 1,000 Republicans on the ground helping to count the votes, and to be weary of that and to watch everything. And the Democrats won. Here it is right here, right? So Warnock won against Loeffler, right? 2,257,858 votes to 2,184,474 votes. And then in Perdue and Ossoff, that turned out to be going for Ossoff, and Ossoff won 2,238,000 votes, and Perdue only won 2,203,000. So there's a difference of 35,000 votes between the two of them. Now, my only bad about that was I misread what the stock market said, but then the stock market went up 437 points today. So obviously, if the stock market went up yesterday and the stock market went up today, this. But I don't want to talk about that. The only reason I want to say this is because, put in perspective, that means that the Democrats beat the Republicans at the game of votes in Georgia. Now, they might have had some rule changes, and they might have had some drop boxes, and they might not have verified signatures, but that's just the way that it is. That's the way that it went down. If nobody wants to hear the case, that's the way it is. Is all lost? No, nothing is all lost. It's not all lost, because we still have 230 million people in the United States of America, and we still have great lives. We all have a great country. We all have each other. We all have good neighbors. We all have, pretty good cities. We all have, some of us have great cities. Some of us have unbelievably fantastic cities. Some people don't have ideal situations, but we're trying to get everybody to raise their game to the point where we can just live a great middle-class American life. Because isn't that what it's about? And we're letting the political parties divide this up. The tragedy about today is a whole bunch of people went to Washington to be heard, and they were heard until everybody stopped listening because some people pushed it too far. They pushed it too far. And that's a shame, because I'm sure that the people that pushed it too far at one time were just like you and me, that were just like, hey, let's go up there and have our voices heard. And then they got emboldened somehow. It could be from internal groups. It could be in the people that were around them. It could have been President Trump. It could have been any number of ways. And all of a sudden they're emboldened to go into the Capitol. And then someone got shot. And that person died. No. I don't care. Son of a bitches. I am just a middle American living in the middle of the country in Arkansas. And to see that somebody had died, and she was a 14-year veteran of the United States Air Force. I don't know what she was doing in the Capitol. I have no idea what she was doing in the Capitol. Maybe she just wanted to have her voice heard. I don't know. I don't know who shot her. I don't know why she got shot. But somebody lost a daughter. Somebody may have lost a mother. I don't know whether she was a mom. I know that we lost a citizen today. Because some people pushed things too far. And that's unacceptable. We are a peaceful people. We have fought hard since the beginning of our country to get along and to have some type of a political system where we keep raising people up. And we keep raising people up. And that's our job, is to raise everyone up. Our job is not to go push things to the point where anyone dies. I know that you're not happy. I'm not happy. Why do you think I'm starting 535? Don't change the game, change the players in the game. I can't believe I got to say this to anybody in the United States of America. You have the right to protest. You have the right to free speech. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to religion. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to not self-incriminate. You have the right to a vigorous defense. You have the right to have a job. You have the right to commit commerce. You have the right to go anywhere in the United States of America. You have so many rights that the country has given you, but what you can't do is you can't get to the point where the halls of Congress were breached. I've got a friend of mine on the Capitol Police Department. All day long, all I could think about was her. Were you put people in a position to be threatened? You put other people's lives in peril. You scared everybody that was in the Capitol building. I don't care whether they were staffers, whether they were senators, whether they were just working there as a janitorial staff, whether they were security. When you did that, you scared the crap out of everybody. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is the worst thing that could... Thank God the worst thing that happened today was what happened, because it could have gone so much more sideways than it did. Somebody got shot. I am sad for our country. I am very, very sorry that this had to go. Sherry Clark says it's a hot mess. Don Ledger, I don't know, but why were poll workers kicked out and pulled out ballots in the middle of the night? You know, Don, I don't know. Listen to me. They probably, listen, there were some shenanigans that were going on. I'm not going to lie to you. There were shenanigans that were going on. And then the Republican Party went in and they said, hey, we have to investigate this and we have to go look at this. And then they held a hearing in 4 of the 5 states, right? So in Arizona and Georgia and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And then I think that they did the same thing in Michigan, where they got the legislature together and Rudy Giuliani went in with a bunch of experts and they hashed it out, and then nothing was done. And then they took a bunch of lawsuits, and then that they may or may not have heard any evidence. I don't know. I wasn't in the courtroom, but that turned out to be a dead end too. So now the only question is where do we find ourselves today? Where do we find ourselves today? We found ourselves that they're counting the electoral ballots out of mahogany boxes that were delivered into the chambers of the greatest deliberative body in the entire world, and then all hell broke loose. Look, I don't like a lot of things that happen in my life. I don't like a lot of things that befall me, befall my family, befall the neighborhood that I'm in, befall the political system. I didn't like going to war, but I went to war when the country asked me to. I went and I did that. I didn't like it. My wife got cancer. I don't like a lot of things that happen in this world. But I have to be able to swallow that and then be able to deal with it and then look forward with optimistic eyes, knowing that I live in the greatest country in the world, and that by voting and by having a representative government that I can go and hopefully change that. You can only take your shots. You can only take the shots that you can take. I've been doing this show for a really long time. Sometimes I have 0 people watching. I started this show over 1.5 years ago, and I didn't really promote it because I was doing it for fun. I was trying to get a couple of skills. I still totally suck at it, but here's what I knew. I know that I needed to have a political voice, so I know several people in our government, and whenever I want to engage them, I engage them. And I'm going to ask for 2 of the people that I know to be thrown out because of Operation 535. And they're not going to like me very much. But here's what the deal is. I can't change the game, so let's change the players. That's what happens in the United States of America. So I'm asking all Democrats and I'm asking all Republicans to never vote for an incumbent until it's time to vote for good incumbents again. But we can't keep, well, my side is right, your side is wrong. Therefore, we cannot compromise. We need to be able to find people, because right now, Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi will not talk to each other. Everybody's divided up the country, and it's either this or it's that. There's no middle ground, and we can't get anything done. The only thing I want right now is I want every single legislative body in every single state to figure out the way to have a fair election. And I don't care how it is done. I just don't really care how it's done. But what I do care about is I care about you being active and you changing what you can change. Sometimes that's going to be a mayor. Sometimes it's going to be a city council. Sometimes it's going to be the people that are in the House of Representatives in each state. Sometimes it's going to be state senators. Sometimes it's going to be a governor. Sometimes it's going to be your House, the Congress people that we have in Congress. Sometimes it's going to be our state senators. But what we cannot have is we cannot have people that vote and then do what they did today. And it was a small percentage. I watched the tapes. I didn't watch the tapes. I actually watched it live. The bodies, they went in there and they sat down in the chairs. They might have taken a couple of pens. But there's not graffiti all over the place. But they did attack some Capitol Police. They did breach the walls. They did break some windows. You can't do that. We can peaceably assemble. We can voice our opinions. We have free speech rights. The good people, this is what I wrote. Everybody needs to read that. The good people must prevail. That is my number one theme for today. The good people must prevail. We have to change the system. If we have to change out every single player, not the system. We have a great system. We have a great system. It has worked for 240 years. We have a great system. What we need is we need to get rid of the political parties, or the people that are in the political parties right now that will not talk to each other, that have caused this. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't know whether the election was stolen in Georgia. I don't care. What I care about is from right now, moving forward, what can Mickey do to change the system that we have to make it fair and equitable for all citizens? And I don't want to throw in my hat. I don't want to say, I'm giving up on this. What I'm saying is we have got to find people that are willing to fight for solutions, and they have to listen to the other side in order to get us where we're going. You know where the Republicans messed up in this? You know where? I know exactly where the Republicans screwed up on this. Population density. You go look at the maps and you look at where all the population are inside of Georgia. They hit up Clark County, which is they hit up DeKalb County. They hit up the county around Atlanta. The Democrats went in there and they were like, you're urban. They hate you. They're urban. You're urban. They're rural. You are urban. They are capitalist. You're urban. They hate you. Well, how come all the Republicans weren't down there in the cities going, hey, we're the party of the people. We're the party that believes that you can do whatever you want to do. We need you to fill out this absentee ballot request, or we will help you vote. That's what I think that they did. They literally found every single person that had breath and that didn't have breath, and they said, we're going to help you vote. It was off the chart in some of the places. It was like 15% for Trump and 85% for Biden. That's the way that the vote went. And if you win the inner cities, if you win the urban areas, That's what they did. And they squeaked out enough votes. That's what happened. I don't know about voting machines. I don't know about signatures. All I know is a year ago, when the pandemic started, they said, hey, let's get drop boxes. Let's get every single vote in every single urban area that we possibly can. We're going to concentrate on all of the swing states. We're going to concentrate on Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Arizona happened to be just an oddball out. But then they went into all of the urban centers. They didn't need to go to Chicago. They already had Chicago. They didn't need to. Chicago is Illinois. They didn't need to go to New York because New York City is New York. They didn't need to go to Massachusetts because Massachusetts is Boston. And if you get, 80, 70, 80% of Boston, they didn't have to go there. So they didn't. So every single Democrat went to the urban areas in the 5 states that I just mentioned, and they found every single vote. Every single vote. Alive or dead. And then they got that ballot. Here's the second part of that. Second part of it. You can do whatever you want in this country as long as you don't get caught. And as long as if you do get caught, nobody does anything about it. And that's what happened here. They went and did some shenanigans. They got people that every single person, whether they influenced their vote, whether they didn't influence their vote, the rules are, hey, you're not allowed to influence anybody else's vote, like in a nursing home with people with dementia. But they went in there and they were like, oh, yeah, you got dementia. I know that you don't know what you're doing, so let me vote for you. Here you go. Hey, sign this line. They sign the line. We're just helping them vote. Then they send it on up. Guess what? If you don't catch that person that did that and you don't punish that person is going to continue that behavior forever and ever and ever. And if they pay the person that is helping people vote, which they do through all of the get out the vote organizations that are currently in the United States of America, they're funded by people like George Soros, by people like Zuckerberg, by people like the dude that is up at Facebook, whoever these people are. And that's the way that they did this. And if you don't catch those people, then you can't do that. And then it's up to whoever is counting the vote to catch them. And then you go, oh, well, this is a bad thing. Well, who sent this in? Well, they never asked the question, who sent this in? They might have people that sent in 2, 3, 4, 5,000 ballots that were illegally cast. Or not illegally cast, right? Because they had the people that were there. But even if you did an audit of that, how do you prove that somebody helped somebody else vote when you're dealing with somebody with dementia? Or dealing with somebody that's in an inner city, or only has a post office box, or is sleeping on the street, or is at a men's shelter, is that YMCA? This is a tragedy. And what happened at the Capitol today is a travesty upon travesty. Because good people went there with good intentions to have their voice heard and to say, we object to what is going on because we do not believe that this was a valid election. And then some people blew it. Some people went in there and they blew it. And because they went and did that, and because it was TV'd and cabled all over the world, now everybody has to go, okay, man, give it to Biden. They had a chance. If 250,000 people showed up, rough estimate, if 250,000 people showed up and they represented 73 million people in the country, it might have changed somebody's mind on the inside of the chamber. All they have to do is yell loud enough, and you can actually hear from the outside of Congress, inside of the halls of Congress, if the people are loud enough. And it might have changed a few minds, and people might have said, okay, yeah, let's get an investigation. Let's do the Ted Cruz thing that said, hold the election for 10 days, and then what we will do is we will go and we will investigate, and we'll have an audit of those, and then the Congress, the Senate, the House, and the Judiciary, the Supreme Court, will come back and say whether this is a good or whether this is bad. And then at that point, the people could decide. That's what Ted Cruz was trying to do. Even if it's a new thing, even if there's no precedence for that, who wouldn't want to agree to, hey, let's take a 10-day hiatus and just go down there and see if everything is cool in these 5 states? I mean, I would agree with that as a middle American. I'm sure that normal, everyday people that weren't divided by political lines would say that, because right now, Republicans are asking for an investigation. Half of the Republicans are asking for an investigation, and 100% of the Democrats are saying no. So it's 75% no, 25% yes, and they're never going to get that. So that means that everybody's going to have to swallow the pill, and we're just going to have to change it for next time. And I hate saying that. I hate saying it, but time's up. An hour and a half ago, Mitch McConnell decided he was going to restart the Senate and the debate in the Senate. And Nancy Pelosi, right before I came on air, said that we're going to fire up the whole House of Representatives debate. Those debates are 2 hours long, so 2 hours from whenever the heck they started to do that. And there's some brilliant speeches on the House floor and some brilliant speeches in the Senate that are going on right now. So as soon as you get done watching this, you can go and watch C-SPAN. You can watch any one of the other news networks that are also bringing that from the Senate or from the House. C-SPAN would be great for that. C-SPAN 1, C-SPAN 2. But my whole point about this is we are middle Americans. We have to do something about this. We are the strength. If we say the most important thing in our country is Americans, not political parties, not what race you are, not what religion you are, not what gender you are, not what sex you are, not what anything you are, but our core belief is that all Americans are created equal and that we should all fix this together so that we can go back to fighting about all the other shit we got to do. We have to have a solid political system so that the rest of the time we can argue about everything, because that's what our country is based on. Hey, look here. I want a little bit of that freedom thing. Well, I don't know, man. Hate speech. Well, hey, let's talk about hate speech. Let's just talk about that. Hey, well, the climate is kind of, affecting the entire planet. We should talk about that. Okay, let's talk about that. Hey, let's talk about use of petroleum products. Let's talk about the interstate highway system. Let's talk about the infrastructure of the country. Let's talk about medical care for everybody. We can't have any of those conversations if the political system is broke. If the political system is broke, that means nobody gets to talk anymore. That means that one side gets to rule the other. One ring to rule them all. And whoever's in power at the time that the system collapses is going to remain in power forever and ever and ever. Go look at Russia. Go look at China. Go look at any other country that is, look at North Korea. Go ahead and look at Cuba. Look at Venezuela. Look at all the countries that conversations no longer take place and the political system is broken, and all of a sudden, whoever is in the minority never gets to speak again. And God forbid if that minority party ever takes over, because then the majority party, which, by the way, happened in Yugoslavia, it also happened in Iran, it also happened in Iraq, and it's also happened in Saudi Arabia. Those are the countries where they have a divided government, one party rules everything, and the other minority party doesn't get to rule anything, unless you're in Saudi Arabia and you throw a coup and you kill everybody, and then the minority party gets to rule the majority party. By the way, both of those religions that did that are Muslim. But that wasn't what the point was. The point was that there was a minority party that was religious-based and a majority party that was religious-based, and they also ran their government so that when one fell, they all fell. I am only asking for your help to fix what we have not yet fully broken. If you're one of those people that broke in, shame on you. If you're one of the thousands of people that showed up to have your voice heard and peacefully protest, good on you. This is not like anything else. We now have a severe distrust in our country, but we can get it back. We can get it back. We have to have optimism. We have to reach out to listen to other people. If you're a rural, listen to urban. If you like hip hop, listen to a little country. If you're Muslim, listen to a Christian. If you're Jewish, listen to a libertarian or listen to somebody that's Buddhist. Try to understand. Try to get along. Let's go and be this. Let's take the middle Americans and make our country better. Mark Alcaster, walks like a duck, looks like a duck, then is a damn duck. You are 100% correct. You're correct. But the question is if it is a duck, what do we do with the duck? What do we do with the duck? Because you can get away with anything in the country. I can go outside and I can pee in the middle of the street. If I get away with it, I get away with it. Somebody has to stop me. Somebody has to prosecute me. Somebody has to go throw me in jail so I don't pee in the street anymore. Otherwise, I can go out there every single night. Right now, I don't like the fact that they got away with it. I don't know what they got away with. I don't know what they didn't get away with. There's a whole bunch of accusations, but there hasn't been a deliberative body that said that this happened. Because I don't have a deliberative body, then all of a sudden I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Trash the system? Burn the country? You know? Jason says, I don't know either, so why don't we allow the elected officials to perform their constitutional duties and debate it peacefully without mob rule? For the first time, as a Trump voter, I am angered by his response. Yes, I wrote that down. Trump, this is not acceptable. Mr. President, this is not acceptable. Your response to this was not acceptable. Your incitement of your chosen words, I don't want to say incitement, your chosen words could be interpreted as incitement. The other thing I want to say is, where is it? Right? Hold on just a second. First of all, this is not an insurrection. What happened today was not an insurrection. It was not an insurrection. This was a protest and a little bit of a riot. Here's the bad thing about that. An insurrection would have taken over the Capitol and would not have let anybody in and would have done a lot more damage. I'm telling you right now, I have seen insurrections. I was in the military for 30 years. This was not an insurrection, so everybody needs to stop using that language. It wasn't an insurrection. It was not an overthrow. It wasn't an overthrow. This was not an overthrow. This was a whole bunch of people breaking a bunch of windows, breaking in, threatening a whole bunch of people. Somebody got shot. Somebody passed away, which is tragic and horrible. And then everybody went, okay, they're done messing around with us, so we got to go home. And then Then Trump said, hey, everybody go home and go in peace. Yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. What a dick. All right, so I'm sorry. I'm over my time by 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Listen to me. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Mickey in the Middle. I hope to provide solutions going forward. I have pages and pages and pages of notes about what happened today and about what's going to happen tonight and about what has happened in the past and how we can apply it to the future. This is Mickey in the Middle. I'm here on Facebook Live every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central, trying to figure out a way to get all of my content over to Parler and over to Rumble so that I don't get fired like Mark Calcaterra. I believe it to be true. Logan Calcaterra, you can believe that it is true. You can believe that the election was fraudulent. You can believe that it was stolen. You can believe that all you want. Sometimes there's things that I cannot do about what my neighbor does. There's sometimes that I can't do anything about it. Right now, I can't do anything because I have a Senate and a Congress that are currently debating what to do. My elected representatives are up there right now. I don't know when Tom Cotton is going to talk. I don't know when French Hill is going to talk. I don't know when any of the other representatives or senators from Arkansas are going to speak. But what I do know is it's in their hands. It's in their hands. And I don't want to be disparaging, right? So you can write letters, you can grab a sign, you can go out in your front yard, or you can go to protests, or you can go start your own movement, or you can run for Congress, or you can vote for other people. There's a lot of options you have. But I can't do anything about if someone stole the election. There's nothing that I can do other than the things that I can do. And that's why we elected our Congress people and our senators and the President of the United States. We should still insist on term limits. Listen to me. Operation 535 is all about term limits. People that will talk to each other and people that instill term limits. Get rid of them. Nancy Pelosi's been up there for 33 years. Mitch McConnell has been up there for 35 years. There are people that have been there 40 years in Congress. I'm going to get a list of those. I'll put that list out. Divided States of America, my heart is beyond sad. Cammie, you don't even know how sad. Fair elections, period. Don Ledger, you're right, 100%. Fair elections. We got to figure out how to make it fair. That happens in the state. That happens at the state level. That means that if you're in Arizona, if you're in Alaska, if you're in Arkansas, if you're in Colorado, if you're in Georgia, if you're in Florida, if you're in Massachusetts, if you're in Mississippi, if you're in Chicago, everybody needs to get on the bandwagon about getting fair elections. You do that by engaging your state senators, your state legislative bodies, your state House of Representatives, and you get them on it. You do it with your mayors, you do it with your city councils, you do it with your friends and your neighbors, and we rise up. We rise up. And we're not going to take this as middle Americans anymore. As Americans, we need to come back together. Yes, ma'am, Sherry Clark. Mine too. I agree with that. The good people must prevail. That is true. Yes, our system works. We need term limits, period. I think 80% of the people in the United States of America want term limits, and they're not giving it to us. Witnessed voter fraud reported and no justice from local authorities. Right. So, Cammie, sometimes we do things and sometimes it doesn't. Cruz had precedents from elections occurring in 1880s. Occurred in 1876. Stillman versus Hayes. Hayes won. Yes. And that's why we have deliberative bodies that are up there right now that are working on this. So as Americans, as middle Americans, listen to me. It was a sad day. I'm sorry I got on a rant. I'm sorry that I have strong opinions about this. I want you to know that I believe that some serious shenanigans, possibly a theft of election, happened in multiple states. I also believe that it's entirely plausible that Democratic operatives went out and they found every single vote, even from people that were not eligible to vote and people that could not possibly have the mental capacity to vote, and that they might have even made some ballots up. They might have invented people. And when they got done counting them, because of the ballot boxes and because of the new rules put in place by the Secretary of State and by the judges that ruled in that state and the body of legislators that aren't going to do anything about it in Georgia, there's nothing I can do about it. But I think it's totally plausible, as proof last night, that the Republicans said that they weren't going to let any shenanigans happen. And I told you it was going to happen because they did the exact same thing last night and yesterday that they did November 3rd or 5th or 6th or whenever the hell the vote for the president was. They did the same thing. If they're going to do the same thing and the Republicans don't have the ability to stop them, that means that now the Republicans got to get their stuff together. They got to engage in the urban areas and they got to get some of those votes out of there. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, hey, everybody have a great night. Mickey in the Middle, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central, right here from wherever I happen to be. Remember, go to teespring.com/stores /Mickey in the Middle, all one word, slam together right there, and go see. We're kicking this off. Thanks a lot, Darla. I love you. And you guys have a great night. So everybody have a great night. Mickey's out of here. Remember to live, laugh, and love. See ya. Peace. See ya. I was wondering why it didn't go away. Oh, what a mess.